Alright, Mr. Machona from the corner la uzongithola khona mawukhona ukuba khona sanibona. Hey bafethu asiqaleni la basatile Warras. Basatile Warra. DJ Warras, one of the coolest guys, one of the most talented DJs we've ever had in a while. The boy, we saw the boy growing, ebusweni bethu on the radio, on TV. So he was involved with evicting illegal occupants of buildings, in the CBD. So he got shot while doing some of that work. And I have to say, Bafethu, I know ngiyengakhala mina, I did share it here. And I think into engikwatisa kakhulu, into engizwisa ubuhlungu kakhulu is the fact that he was one of the few people that were actually doing something good, not talking only on TikTok, on social media, on TV, and other media platforms, but he was doing something, with the lawlessness that we are having in our country, the collapse that we are actually experiencing in our country. And in one of his interviews, in one of his conversations with Penwell, the Black Pen, he was saying, uh, in CBD, part of the reason why there's a collapse of infrastructure is because you have people that were not budgeted for, like khona abantu ekuthi system azange babhadle. Remember, let me explain. There's what you call census, ane? Census helps government come up with just how much they must build, or how much of service they must deliver to the people, you know. And he was saying Lama building law, a building that was meant for 100 people was occupied by 2,000 people. Saying an example, I'm not quoting him word for word, verbatim. I think they say that. So le sewage le yenzakala leyo building isiwa system yayo, it's meant for 100 people. Now it's being overburdened because now there's 2,000 people. Igcina collapse. I think it's what is happening in our country currently. And I've said this before. I said one major contributor to the collapse of our country, especially the collapse of our infrastructure, is because it's small, man. Most of people that are here were not supposed to be here. They were not budgeted for. We did not know ukuthi sewer system yet will be holding so many people. Laba baqashile emikhukhwini emakasi wethu. Terminat, if you look at many townships in South Africa currently, the sewer system is not working. The sewer system is not balanced. We know also Eskom load shedding. Our power infrastructure is not balanced. It's collapsing because now we have more people that were not budgeted for. And so we need to improve the infrastructure so that it can accommodate everyone. But how? When so few of these people are paying tax, just a tiny number of us who live in South Africa, not citizens, a tiny number of us who live in South Africa pays tax. So uzoyenza bazoimprove kanjani le system, the sewer system, electricity system, transport infrastructure. How is government going to improve? Where will the money come from? Another loan. So Bemasimbin, if that's a route that we are suggesting, people are not paying tax. Whereas we have more people who are undocumented. We don't know who they are, but they eat, they shit, they use electricity, they bat, they move around with transportation in our country. They go to public health services. They benefit there. They benefit from our policing. They also do crime. How is the system withholding everyone? It's not. That is why it's collapsing. So Warras was one of the few people that were saying, you know what, let us do something. Yes, he was hired security, so he was getting something from that, but he was implementing change. He was implementing change and progress. But someone somewhere had to instill fear in everyone else who want to dare and fight a lawlessness in our country. So they shot DJ Warras. They shot DJ Warras to send a message to say nize nizame. And I like what he said also in another episode with Penwell. Not sure if it's the same episode where he says, what if the people that are doing crime, the masterminds, what if they are white? Actually, it's he was saying, what if Justin J to be politically correct, but crime has no skin tone, and the bigger guys, the guys at the top there, they're not Nigerian. The Nigerians are ice boys. Nigerians are ice boys. If you see what is happening in Tshwane, what if the camera okay, yeah, you see what is happening in Tshwane. They just arrested Chinese nationals who turned out to be running brothels in Tshwane. So it was not black guys. I think those ones were not smart enough, like the ones in Joburg where they put black guys in charge. Hey, black people, hey, black people. And also, they are not always foreign nationals, people who are criminals. As you've seen in the Madlanga Commission, there are people who are crime bosses who are South Africans and black. But I like when Warras, corrected, they say it's white. They are white masterminds. There's that guy in Cape Town, if you remember the news headline, who crashed in an airplane somewhere in USA. It was not in South Africa, but it was a South African pilot from Cape Town who was transporting cocaine. You understand? Some of that cocaine, I'm sure, ended up in Cape Town anyway. So it's not always, the narrative is that black people are corrupt, black people are criminals, it's Nigerians, it's Ghanaians. Yes, they are in the crime world, those people. Sick people sometimes, not all of them. They are in the crime world, but it's not always Africans. A lot of crime in South Africa is done by people who are of a lighter tone, who have a lighter complexion, And Warras said that on a international. Let's hope Penwell is international, but on a podcast, anything that is on the internet is international. For it's global, the internet has no limit. So he said that, corrected that, and little did we know that you. But let us not say little, because anyone who fights crime in South Africa, their life is in danger. Anyone who look at the whistleblowers. Look at that guy. Is it Witness D in Madlanga Commission? He went out, and here's the thing: when you have public servants who are now suspected of being in the criminal world, the guys who are not government officials, the guys who are criminals, they get motivated, to say, if our politicians are doing this, we can do it. And sometimes we glamorize crime. We're making ingoma ngabo cat matlala. These people who are in our country legally, who are criminals, they now get comfortable to think that they can do anything. Basate batunje in broad daylight. Very high ranking people, famous people like DJ Warras, Babasate. It's because of the people that we entrusted with our safety are the ones now that are murdering witnesses. Now we're having criminals running amok, thinking that they are very comfortable in South Africa. We'll glamorize them in South Africa. We're sending our wrong message ourselves as citizens by glamorizing criminals and criminal activities on TikTok or on social. These people, they now think South Africans love crime. You can do anything, It's wrong, that thing. It's not what South Africans appreciate, It's not what South Africans appreciate, even though we know that next week bazabe bakhohliwe ngo DJ Warras and what he stood for. People will move on. People now have an attitude yokuthi, hey, as long as he hear me. You can go to Joburg CBD and ubone batshwara motho poho. Anyeke uyetse next. As long as not me. But the fact is, really cool that this activity, crime, it's next time it is going to be you. So you need to stop it now. You need to show the world, you need to show the criminals that as South Africans we are not for this thing. Anyway, moving right along. It's been a month. Is it 2 month of Manyobi? Yeah. Internet. Have you seen, especially Facebook, man? Have you realized Facebook now? So we actually Pornhub. Pornhub that went to private school, but hey, no. The videos we see on Facebook, last time was that woman noma khopheni wakhe wasesontweni, yeah, mabasesontweni esikolweni, they were having the deed broad daylight ngaphandle. Unfortunately for them, I think they were abekho esikhathini samanje. Little did they know that nowadays, even when you are recording in your bedroom, chances are khona camera, but there's no secrecy these days. Even your phone is busy is busy taking you a video. You're not even aware. There's no secret now. You're being recorded. Little did they know that khona umuntu o-DVD yayo, khona umuntu o-DVD yayo. They're in church, and someone said, no, Baba possessed. Obvious, when you are horny, you are possessed. When you are horny, you don't think, Baba. When you are horny, the controller ezindoda ucontroller ilento leya, controller ipipi ifuna manje into yayo. Manje fast uyabona ukuthi hey, going home and finding privacy, hayi, it's a long story. Asiyenze la naye lo muntu lo yenza naye ulaphaya usemizweni. So you are possessed. A lot of you are doing things impulsive. You don't know that you are possessed by a sexual spirit. You are being sold nakedness. This is why most adverts you have women who are half naked. Music videos you have women who are half naked. On the streets you have women who are half naked. So you are doing things impulsive. You are doing things because you are possessed by the sexual spirit. You are horny. Most of you don't realize that. So when you are horny, you are possessed. So it's bonito jali eske